hello, surprise. Welcome to Even More News, the first and only news podcast. My name is Katie Stoll. You're up.
Yeah, and welcome to the 319th time I've said something similar to thanks, I'm Cody.
You're welcome, Cody.
Hi.
And Jonathan is also here.
I'm here. Hi. On a Tuesday.
What?
On a Tuesday.
What's that like?
Yeah, I think that there are some eagle-eyed viewers right now going, what's happening? What's going on? This isn't some more news. Where's the news dude? And to that I say, he's right there. He's right there. I'm pointing at him on my Zoom screen. And here I am in the studio.
Yeah.
Cody, what's going on? Why are we here today instead of having a normal episode?
I guess we'll explain briefly. We had an episode that we were filming last week to come out today, Wednesday. And as we were going through it, we just it felt off. There was something off about it. It didn't quite feel like an episode of the show. And we had a long discussion during the filming of it. And we just sort of came to the conclusion that there's more to be done to the episode to make it worth making, to make it seem like an episode of the show that wouldn't feel off. And so we decided that we were going to take a little more time with that and punch it up and expand it and make it a bigger thing that would feel closer to the spirit of the show. And instead of that episode, which will come out in sometime in weeks, we're working on it. We're filming something else tomorrow that will come out next week. But yeah, so in the meantime, we thought we would just do a little extra news because as other eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed, we don't always get to all the things that happen in the news. There's so many things.
This is an interesting opportunity for us to give you guys a little peek behind the curtain. Sometimes we get comments like, why aren't you talking about this thing? Or you're not reacting to my input specifically. We have scripts in the pipeline for months, and we've got a very tight schedule in order to meet this weekly demand, which we love to do. But sometimes, and actually this is, I think, the first time this has ever happened, so I feel pretty proud of us.
Wait, you mean, Katie, it's hard to have a 7,000 to 10,000 word script ready to go every single week?
It sure is.
Yeah. Sorry,
it
keep going.
Sure is.
He's right, folks.
Jonathan. It was a tough decision it wasn't that tough, but you're like, what are we going to do? We have to release something. I feel very proud of us and our team for always putting out stuff that we're actually proud of and that we feel really confident about, and being able to make a decision that might not be the easiest decision, but to say like, no, we want to stand by our values. We want to stand by our show and the quality. So here we are today. Also, we have been flirting with the idea of doing 2 episodes of Even More News a week.
That's true.
Because as Cody said, it is just impossible to cover everything.
Yeah.
So now we're workshopping that.
Yeah.
We're going to have another episode of Even More News in a couple days, my babies.
Yeah.
How exciting.
Yeah.
And some of you are watching this for the first time, and I hope you fall in love with Even More News. I hope you fall deeply in love with us flirting on the news.
I don't hope you fall in love with us flirting the news. I think we need a little bit of some boundaries, some distance.
People said more me, and it's more me.
That is
more me. More
Jonathan.
Me meaning Jonathan.
Exactly.
Yay, we're all happy. More of him.
And we will be back next week on Wednesday, our regularly scheduled programming, full episode. As you see, Katie's in town, so she will be in that episode. This little guy might show up. This little guy might show up. We'll see.
Some more news viewers and listeners who don't watch Even More News, we shout out holidays because there's always something to celebrate. Today we just have one, but it's an important one. Perhaps the best holiday we have ever called out.
Oh.
Thursday, February 27th is National Small Dog Day. Nick, throw up some pictures of adorable small dogs.
Bark, bark, woof.
Oh, wait. This was created by Purina? Nestle owns Purina?
Mm-hmm.
Please.
Come on.
I mean,
Dogs
they own
can't eat
a lot of
chocolate.
stuff.
yeah.
One would hope that they would keep the chocolate factory away from the Purina factory, although with RFK, who knows? They might just combine
I already
everything.
put a bunch of Oompa Loompas in charge, and now it's chaos.
The L'Oreal is going to be mixed in with the cat food.
Yeah, they're gonna fill.
You own L'Oreal,
the
too?
water's gonna mix with.
They own a lot of
They own
stuff.
a lot of
You
stuff,
should look
yeah.
at. You should
No,
look at
I
it.
know. I'm being purposely dumb here.
No, I don't think. I think it's fine. It's fine to not know all the companies that Nestle owns.
I know that they own an astounding amount of random companies.
a lot of water companies and cereals.
Shall we get into it?
Okay.
I'm trying to flirt with the camera.
Okay. Are you getting that, folks at home?
I hope we're entertaining you on a Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday, everybody. Here's some more news. That's not how this show goes. Jonathan, what's going on in the news?
Oh, well, it was a big weekend. If you work for the federal government, you got an email on Saturday from Doge following a tweet from Elon Musk who said, consistent with President @real Donald Trump's instructions, all federal employees will shortly receive an email requesting to understand what they got done last week. Failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. Then the email went out a few hours later that didn't say that. It said the first sentence, but not the failure to respond will be taken as a resignation. But it said deadline was Monday at 11:59 p.m. EST.
This is
It's madness.
just
It's absurd.
It's wild. It's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's sloppy. There's so much to unpack. We will, but I had to interject. This is assuming that all of these millions of federal employees, I guess, are on Twitter.
You have to be
And
on. I literally saw
have
people
alerts.
like in threads be like, "Yeah, they should be checking the website." What? No,
The Twitter
they
website.
shouldn't be checking the website
You
now.
want people on Twitter at work?
I make sure the bears aren't eating the campers at Yosemite, and I'm supposed to be checking Doge.gov.
No. Go do the important business. Yeah, it's absurd.
Just a random email that may or may not go into your spam
Probably
folder.
go into spam folder.
Probably. I can't say that with absolute confidence, but we do know that this is what happened at Twitter. And
Exactly
that was
what
a
happened
thing.
at Twitter.
that-
Literally exactly what happened at Twitter.
And a lot of people didn't see the email because it was in their spam folder.
Although it does look like this was from OPM, I believe.
Came
so
from
like
HR at OPM.gov.
yeah, so it's like an email they're probably familiar with. It's an internal email instead of like, Musk at Elon dot
Based.
org or whatever. Like dot based. God, you would. So, maybe it didn't go to spam this time. The whole thing's very absurd. Also, I would posit that these millions of emails that they would potentially receive wouldn't be read by anybody. No one's going to read these millions of emails about what the 5 things you do in a week.
Other than Grok.
Grok's obviously going to read it, but Grok will read it in a sexy voice. We'll get to that, I guess. It's just so silly, and I keep seeing people be like, oh, so like government workers are like upset they have to prove that they do work. That's not what's going on. You live in a vacuum. Stop living in a vacuum. Everybody needs to stop living in a vacuum as if like nothing has happened before this and Elon Musk isn't involved and there weren't all these things that have been done in order to get people to quit or be forced to get fired or whatever.
I think there's more information to be dispersed out here. Jonathan, what happened next?
Yeah, I'm happy to disperse.
Yeah.
They caused widespread confusion.
Sure.
What? Doge caused widespread confusion.
One, no one from any of these agencies knew what to do, and a lot of the agency heads, who again were appointed by Donald Trump, who also appointed Elon Musk, were saying, don't respond to this whatsoever. Kash Patel at the FBI said, for now, please pause any responses. The Defense Department, which is almost 1 million civilian employees, almost half of the entire federal workforce, was like, no, we'll deal with our own people. So that made Elon look dumb, I think. Elon threatening to make you resign in a X post.
Mm-hmm.
Is legal?
He doesn't have the authority to do that, but again, every week now I'm like, Elon doesn't have, it's not legal for him to do that. Maybe someone with a briefcase should stop him from doing that.
Sir, this is not who we are.
Right. I'm sure not 2.3 million, which is the number of federal employees, but I'm sure HR at opm.gov received a lot of emails, many of which were not from federal employees. Maybe some of you decided to chime
Maybe our
in.
beautiful listeners decided to send some emails. Godspeed to you all.
But I do want to get your thoughts on Elon's follow-up reasoning for doing this. In a quote tweet to Libs of TikTok, where Libs of TikTok is like, why wouldn't you want your manager to know what you're doing? He said the reason this matters is that a significant number of people who are supposed to be working for the government are doing so little work that they are not checking their email at all. In some cases, we believe non-existent people or the identities of dead people are being used to collect paychecks. In other words, there is outright fraud.
This is so fucking wild and dumb. Okay, Cody, you got a hot take.
I was going to say this is so fucking wild and dumb.
See?
One thing that I think that Elon Musk could do in this case is prove it. Like, there are ways to prove this, I would posit, that aren't this weird email scheme that clearly didn't work, that half the government was like, don't answer this stupid email. What does Elon know about any of your jobs? Why are you emailing Elon Musk about what you do at your job to prove that he didn't buy Twitter again. This isn't his company. Although I'm sure he imagines that he did buy America, which he technically did buy America.
He bought the election.
He keeps saying there's fraud. Prove it once. Show me one. Do it.
If you are scamming the federal government and you have taken the identity of a dead person so that you can receive a paycheck for doing nothing, and you are clever enough to do that scam, but he thinks you're not clever enough to respond to the email with 5 bullet points to make something up.
Log on to Grok, say make up a job, make up a guy, write 5 things for me, send email.
And you could be like, totally found fraud in the Department of Health and Human Services.
Yeah.
And how much time did they have? 48 hours?
Yeah, a little over 48 hours.
Sent out Saturday when people aren't working. Many people don't work on Saturdays and have to by Monday. Many people have jobs where they're not constantly checking email also. Just because you have a company email doesn't mean you have an email job. Like
a lot of people are in the field.
They're in the field, and maybe many of them have like classified things they've done that they don't want to just send HR about.
Things you literally shouldn't be emailing to people without clearances.
Yeah, Mulder and Scully didn't respond right away, so they're gone.
Number one, I believe.
Wait, so we're paying dead people. What are you talking
Prove
about?
it. Which one? Who?
I'm still
Which
waiting
person?
for proof
What
about
person?
all the dead people collecting Social Security benefits.
Because they're cashing these checks. Are you like in this world, right? Like, okay, you're paying people who were dead, and they're cashing those checks. Name a person. What do you like? Send only those people the email.
If someone in Pensacola, Florida is receiving a paycheck for like Martin Van Buren, birth date 1793 or whatever, I don't think I got close. Like, okay, sure. Show me that. Like, let's see that money leaving the coffers every week.
Show it.
Maybe there's one person out there. Someone died at home. Maybe one person is collecting someone's Social Security checks. Maybe. Prove it. But that doesn't mean that it's widespread or wide scale. In fact, it's not. We know it's not.
Prove it. Also, like, we already went through all the COBOL stuff where it's like, prove anything. Don't just say stuff. And obviously it's working, so you can just say whatever. It would be different if it was like, well, this system is outdated and we need to update it with my special Doge technology, which also I think is a bad idea because I don't think he should be rummaging in and doing anything technologically or having any of our data, but whatever. But he's not even saying that. He's just saying like, yes, there's millions of people who've received this and they shouldn't. Millions of people.
Who was supposed to read these emails too? I've heard that
Grok.
It was going to be, yeah.
I think they said it was going to be AI.
Grok? Yeah.
Mike Johnson is out there talking about this as if he knows anything like that he's actually talking about. But he's out there like, yeah, Elon's out there. He's got the algorithms. He's got the data. The data doesn't lie. What do you mean by that?
Wired just put out an article. Doge is working on software that automates the firing of government workers. Operatives working for Elon Musk's Doge appear to be editing the code of AutoRIF, software designed by the Defense Department that could assist in mass firings of federal workers, sources tell Wired. If you automate the firing of people, even if you don't get rid of critical infrastructure on day one, right? You fire 50 office workers who aren't holding up a bridge or something. That's going to have a trickle-down effect within a week or two, right? Like, things aren't going to be updated. Things aren't going to be managed. We already have, Katie, we've talked about this, like, forests don't manage themselves, right? We've heard so much, like, Trump's been yakking about forest management in California. Yeah. Let's fire all the people who would be doing the managing of the forests. And then the algorithm is going to make mistakes. We know AI has generative AI has hallucinations all the time. So if it's analyzing everything, it's going to fire a Secret Service officer. Trump's bodyguard is going to be standing right there and be like, I'm fired.
Yeah, he's going to they're going to fire people because their initials are DEI, right? Like, they're just going to these algorithms don't they're not making these decisions based on anything. It's just this blanket way of getting rid of people, and you don't know what you're doing. They're getting rid of all kinds of data and information based off of words like transition and equity, because those are the bad words, but they mean multiple things, especially in the context of like the government and laws and taxes and things. And it's just this wrecking ball that is, it's so absurd.
The way this all wrapped up yesterday so far, Donald Trump met with Emmanuel Macron, but they asked him about this, and he says, I think it's great.
Because we have people that don't show up to work, and nobody even knows if they work for the government. So by asking the question, tell us what you did this week, what he's doing is saying, are you actually working? And then if you don't answer, like, you're sort of semi-fired or you're fired.
What does semi-fired mean?
It's his classic catchphrase, you're semi-fired. We all remember that.
Semi-fired kind of life.
So he said it's great. A lot of people aren't answering because they don't even exist. But then hours later, the Office of Personnel Management told all agency chiefs that employees could ignore the email and that nobody would be fired for not responding, which must have been a little bit embarrassing for Musk, because he then tweeted, the email request was utterly trivial, as the standard for passing the test was to type some words and press send. Yet so many failed, even that inane test, urged on in some cases by their managers. So now it's an inane test?
Yeah.
But also trivial. It's a trivial test. All of a sudden,
an inane trivial email that you have to respond to.
Yeah, you just told Libs of TikTok it's critically important.
Which is it, man?
This is a side note. First of all, Martin Van Buren, born 1782, so you weren't that far off.
You were close.
11 years, so close.
So Musk is doing this Libs of TikTok response, right? I have seen more than 2, at least 3 new government appointees and like official, like big government positions directly reply to Libs of TikTok in the past like 2 days about like, there's this one TikToker who is like she said she hadn't filed taxes in 8 years, and she called for Elon to be assassinated. So Libs of TikTok like posted it and then tagged the FBI. U.S. Attorney for D.C. replies like, noted, we're taking care of it. And I don't think it was Bongino, some other person directly replied to one of her tweets, and then Elon's doing this. It's just like, so the official investigator for the government is Libs of TikTok, and all these freaks follow her. They hang on her every word. And I've just noticed it the past couple of days, like people like, oh, I'm Hegseth replied directly to her. Like these, like, you're the Secretary of Defense, and you're replying.
Be on that website ever.
You shouldn't be on the website at all. You certainly shouldn't be following Libs of TikTok. Obviously, he's a Fox News man, but like, you shouldn't be replying either. What are you doing? Just something to look out for. lot of Libs of TikTok reply guys are now in the highest echelons of our government.
We'll talk about the Bongino of it all either today or later this week. They're just to trigger the Libs movement. I mean, that's all he cares about, right? That's what most of them care about. That's what Libs of TikTok is about. Let's piss them off. And now they are the people in charge. Your motivation is to literally mock half the country, not half, whatever, but a significant portion of the country, of the people that actually vote and that actually care about stuff.
Yeah.
Your whole aim is to literally just piss people off.
It's weird how they want to, like, it's all about mocking the Libs, who, according to Elon, don't really exist, right? Hasn't he said, like, there's really no opposition? Everyone's on board with Doge and Trump. It's not even a significant number of people at all. They're all bots. Like, the 10 actual leftists in the country just created a network of bots that they can't possibly track down. He's a dumbass. I can read some more news.
Man, I would you mentioned Bongino. He's listening, I know, I'm sure. I urge the United States Deputy Director of the FBI to unblock me on Twitter.
Yeah.
Dan.
What did he block you for?
I forget. It might have been one of those things where, like, because we've also made videos. Christopher Rufo blocked me and maybe the Some More News account the day our critical race theory episode came out. Like, we didn't even mention, like, we didn't tweet at him. We weren't, like, doing anything. He just saw it exist on YouTube and, like, went and found us. But I don't remember.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, Dan Bongino, he's a conspiracy theorist and right-wing podcaster. He is now deputy director of the FBI.
Has he ever worked in the FBI?
No, he was a New York City cop.
No, he wasn't.
Oh, okay.
That's the point. I know the answer. No, he was a New York City cop and a Secret Service person and failed runs for Congress, I believe, and then became a podcast host. Is he going to keep this podcast?
Why not?
I can think of reasons why not.
He very well may take this super seriously and say, I'm going to not do the podcast, but, like, would that be the 10th biggest scandal of the week if Dan Bongino kept his very popular podcast?
Yeah, but I'm like, I just, deputy director of the FBI with a big fat mouth, loving to troll the Libs. I think that's a problem.
It's gonna be a big problem. Apparently, my best guess is that it's either like a blanket block list or he blocked me for replying "How so?" to a tweet he has since deleted.
You don't remember?
I don't know what it was about. I just asked "How so?"
It's interesting because there may have been a time when guys like that would want to delete tweets where they may have encouraged January 6 people, etc. And now there's no reason for them to have deleted those tweets because now they will be praised and elevated.
Oh yeah, exactly.
That. Maybe Elon can go in and, like, Apple F J6 inside job or something and mass undelete those tweets for these people
to get people the cred that they require and they need now. They need to get that sweet January 6th was good cred.
I know we're always in unprecedented times, etc. I was watching.
I'm so tired of it.
I was watching a clip from ABC News, and they were talking about Bongino's promotion. He didn't work for the government. Bongino's hiring. They described
his
it
career
as unheard
change.
of.
His drastic career change.
Huge career change. The deputy director. I mean, the FBI is not supposed to be a political position. The deputy director is not confirmed by the Senate. It's almost always been someone who has been in the FBI for years or a career, quote unquote, career civil servant. I'm not saying the FBI are the good guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying that the way it always has worked is someone who's been there for a long time is elevated to this position. Obviously, Bongino is there to continue to weaponize the FBI and go after Trump's political enemies.
There's lots of jokes to be made, and this is ridiculous and absurd, obviously, but it's also terrifying because these are the people that will be in charge of, prosecuting anybody that, let's say, was prosecuting January 6thers. Yeah, no, I'm not the biggest fan of the FBI, but I certainly don't want it to be weaponized.
Yeah, it's just like being filled with, like, clowns and podcasters with axes to grind. Like, what do you...
That said, I am available to.
Oh,
if you
yeah,
need
we've got
another
access to Grind,
podcaster to run the
absolutely.
FBI.
I mean, we do the FBI podcast. We could run the FBI's official podcast, give us access to the files.
The files that they're going to release?
Well, right. There's a thing about, there's JFK files, right? And then there's Epstein files. But the Epstein files have not yet been released.
I don't think they'll make Donald Trump look good.
There is reporting. One of them was like a whistleblower to that Schlesinger guy. I don't know if you're familiar. He's like a journalist. He's very intellectual dark web coded, I guess, if that's even still a thing. Big Elon fan, was way into the Twitter files back in the day, if we remember that era. And according to whistleblower talking to him and some other reports from websites I'm not really familiar with.
You mean the Express Tribune?
Things like that. That's a new one to me. But Patriot News and the great Informationer, things of that nature. According to them, the FBI is shredding and getting rid of all the Epstein files. I would posit that maybe Kash Patel got in there and now is deleting the relevant parts of the Epstein files that implicate his best friend of 10 years, Donald Trump, who's the president now, considering that when Trump was asked if he was going to release the JFK and Epstein files, he said yes, and maybe not the Epstein files. You know, it's complicated. He kind of hemmed and hawed for a little bit and implied that he wasn't going to do that. So the idea that
Epstein, I didn't realize what name you had said. Absolutely not.
No. Sorry. I the only time I've ever misspoken this time. And so it's just people like, oh my God, they're getting rid of the Epstein files, like they're shredding them before like the real guy, before Patel gets in. No, my sweet child. They're not doing that. They're protecting the president, who is Epstein's best friend for at least 10 years. You fucking people. God.
Should we show that video where he's dancing with Epstein and pointing at the
Go ahead.
women?
Why not? But Jesus Christ. He has like 8 of Trump's phone numbers were in Epstein's little black book. Like all of his phone numbers.
Why does he have so many phone numbers?
Why do we think he had all those phone numbers? Why do you
I think of a lot of
You think
things.
of a few
different
reasons.
women, shady business deals. One was just for free because it's a bonus.
Why not? Just like
you buy in bulk.
Yeah.
They throw in a little extra.
Mm-hmm.
I love Mint Mobile. They won't stop giving me free phones.
I have so many phone numbers.
Ryan Reynolds, love him.
Hey folks, I'm Jet Setting Cody, and I'm leaving on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back again. I spoke that instead of singing it for legal reasons. And if I need to know any news about, I don't know, if I might not be safe to fly in the future for any reason, I head over to Ground News, which you can visit via the QR code on the screen. No plane required, thank goodness. Ground News is a sponsor we sought out that's both a website and an app. It gathers news from around the world from the entire political spectrum, so you can compare coverage and get the facts straight. Much straighter than Denzel Washington flew in that one movie. Using Ground News, I found out that the Trump administration has fired hundreds of probationary FAA workers. And wouldn't you know it, that news story seems to be covered a lot more by center and left-leaning sources than on the right. And even when those right-leaning sources cover it, the headline is something like the New York Post's transportation honcho Sean Duffy welcomes SpaceX employees to Air Traffic Control System Command Center, as hundreds of FAA workers fired. That's a weird way to say that thing happened. It's extremely useful for me to see how different segments of the media cover these high-flying stories, and you can do it as well at ground.news/SMN. You can get 40% off unlimited access, a factuality chart, and a blind spot feed that shows you what stories aren't being covered by certain outlets. Again, that's ground.news/SMN to get 40% off unlimited access for yourself or someone you know. You know someone. The link is in the description. Plane, go away. Come again some other day. Didn't sing that either. Not going to sing anything. For legal reasons. I have a beautiful voice!
Why, howdy, and Hey, y'all. I can say that now that I recently moved to the mountains. Making up things that I think other people might say has been effortless. But one thing that takes too much effort is grocery shopping and meal planning. I don't have time to write out the ingredients to 21 different meals a week while I'm also practicing my good day, mates. And that's why I use Hungry Root. It's like a personal shopper, meal planner, and nutritionist wrapped up into one. I get meals tailored to my specific tastes, and they can be prepared in 15 minutes or less. And that makes me positively chuffed and buzzing, which is what the locals say up here. It's true. They do. Hungry Root has food that has no artificial sweeteners or preservatives. Slante. Huh? You know, I think you are going to love Hungry Root as much as I do. So please do take advantage of this exclusive offer. For a limited time, get 40% off your first box, plus get a free item in every box for life of the subscription. Just go to hungryroot.com/SMN and use code SMN. That is hungryroot.com/SMN and use code SMN to get 40% off your first box and a free item of your choice for life. Again, of the subscription. I love it so much. I'm getting a little verklempt, which is, again, something that we say up here in the mountains. And one more time, just one more time, because I know you want to hear it, hungryroot.com/SMN and use code SMN. I seriously promise you're not going to regret it. You're not going to regret it. It's too delicious to regret. Good day. Good day. Good day. Good day. Good day, mates.
Oh, look at Cody. You know, when I think about businesses that are just boffo from top to bottom, I think of Gymshark. America loves Gymshark. But we're not here to talk about that website about, one assumes, a shark named Jim. We're here to talk about the secret to Jimmy's success. That is Shopify. Ah! No, get it out of here. The bells are coming. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. They have the number1 bestest. It says bestest. Checkout on the planet. The entire planet. Do you know how big this planet is? That is huge news. This planet, it's big. Okay, I alluded to it earlier. It's a big planet. And with their shop pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, your business will get way fewer abandoned carts and way fewer sales. That's Moxie. Listen here. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. So if you're a growing business or some kind of marine life, you should absolutely check them out. Jim did, and look at his success. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Gymshark uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/more news. All lowercase. Again, go to shopify.com/more news, all lowercase, to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/more news, all lowercase. Don't type all lowercase. Type more news in all lowercase. You know?
Gentlemen, let's move on to a topic that's different but also the same. Town hall meetings. How are things going in the town halls, Jonathan?
Yeah, I made a little compilation of videos here. A lot of GOP representatives have been going back to their districts and getting yelled at by constituents because of Doge's slashing of federal funding and government jobs.
They rehire some of them after they panic and realize they fired too many people.
That is just so fucking chaotic.
Let's give them credit where it's due.
This is not like Republicans who are suddenly furious, although some of these guys are in, they're all GOP members of Congress, and some are in heavily Republican districts, but you do get the sense that it is mostly Democrats showing up to this right now, so I don't want to give the impression that the tide has turned and everyone's rising up, but it's fun still.
It's fun and it's good, and we encourage it.
I'll pause whenever you want, and you can go and yell all you want.
What you, congressmen, and your fellow congressmen are going to do to rein in the megalomaniac in the White House.
I remember having the same discussion with Republicans when Biden was elected. The funny thing is, you're sitting here and a lot of you would probably say those January 6s who are yelling just as loud as you, who are upset just like you. Let's go ahead and move on, because if you're not going to listen.
There is no law and there is no order and there are no consequences. Nobody is held to account.
The end result of the fraud and abuse that has been discovered already.
Name one.
Name one.
Show me.
I agree.
Show her.
Some of them here today.
I don't want him in charge of it.
But he is police fraud and abuse. He can appoint you.
I thought it was your job. It is your job.
Elon Musk and the president have agreed that if there is any potential conflict of interest,
It is your job.
This is bad.
A little rowdy.
Little rowdy.
Little
I want to
raucous.
say your caveat is well taken. We're not saying that this is necessarily Trump supporters who are enraged, but it's not Trump supporters who are upset. It's not only Democrats. This is affecting everybody. And the louder we are, the more other people will also be loud. And you are seeing people online, I'm sure we've already talked about this, but being like, sir, I supported you and I've lost my job. The tide has turned of people liking my charming mountain stories, but here's one. A lot of people are getting fucking fired. And it is a big conversation even in this little rural community. And people that probably supported him and are saying this isn't what I voted for, because it's not. Some people think that they voted for this. Some people wanted this. But the vast majority of people wanted the price of eggs to come down and, maybe want to be able to say the R word or whatever the fuck.
And the mass deportations. They're okay with the mass deportations.
That was the one sign they made for their thing.
Everyone gets mad. Like, you don't know. I'm like, no, I don't know. There's obviously a variety of reasons why people voted, but I can tell you I talked to some people last week, guardedly, but talked to them last week about that ASMR deportation video and the look of horror on their faces. There's a group of people that are like, I do think we need to do something about immigration, but also not this version of it, right? Didn't maybe think mass deportations were actually, but yeah, let's get a start.
Or didn't think about what it might look like.
And I need to be clear, I'm not defending that when I'm saying it.
I know.
I am not defending people when I'm put this caveat. I'm giving context as to why this isn't going to fly in the long term, because it's horrifying. The reality is horrifying, that we were right and they were wrong. I'll get off of my fucking high horse here.
I will see. You
can argue with me. I'm not defending that.
I don't even want to argue.
Point.
I find stuff like that, I think it's good to point it out, and I encourage other people to talk to people in their lives and be like, yeah, this is what they always said they were going to do. I just still find it frustrating to be like, this ASMR video, this is so cruel. Yeah, they're cruel. They've been cruel for 10 years. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
It feels worse
about them.
It feels worse than it did last term, for sure. It does.
But
That's changed.
But it's not like magnitudes crueler or anything like that. Really, I feel like an ASMR deportation video would have been it would have fit perfectly in the first.
I'm not disagreeing with you, by the way.
Term,
I completely agree with you. And it's, of course, it's so frustrating.
It's just frustrating.
It's I had a huge boiling anger in my stomach when I'm telling you this story, that I showed them that video and people were like, wait, who put this out? And said, the White House.
The White House.
No. Yes, I'm telling you that this has always been. And the look of horror is both infuriating and I'm like, thank God you're horrified by it.
Yeah,
like,
thank goodness you're horrified by it. If you thought it was awesome, like many people seem to still, that would be alarming too. I would just, it's whenever I hear stories, I'm like that. I'm just like, okay, so take this feeling you have and try to apply it to literally everything else that has happened over the past 8 years. Like, try to apply it to other things they've said.
Sure.
Try to view this project they have and this administration and this regime and this whole movement through this lens of like, oh my God, they're actually like disgustingly cruel and horrifying. Maybe that actually applies to everything else they're doing
for sure.
and who they are.
I don't know. I'm on a journey right now, everybody. I'm figuring out how to talk to people and how to, like, honestly, these are the same people that were like, Project 2025, you guys are overblowing it. They're not even talking about it, And so it's a different sect of people out there that don't believe that the worst happens. They think, whatever. The point is, again, not defending it. The point is, where this started was those town hall meetings we're assuming are mostly Democrats. But I don't know for sure. And I think that will continue to change. Again, it's been 4 weeks. It's only been 4 weeks. Oh, God.
Yeah.
And RIP my mentions for sharing that story.
Fine to mention things like that. It's good.
Fine. I don't care. Let it.
No, it's
water
not
off
like,
a duck's back.
I think I understand the attempt to like analyze where might we go? How might the tide turn, right? Like approval ratings go up and down, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't fixed. Some people are, right? There's like a third of the country or 30% or 40%, some segment of the country that's not, they're never going to abandon.
The Bonginos of the world, they're never going away. Yeah.
Right. If for no other reason, then it would take a certain amount of mental gymnastics that people are very uncomfortable doing, us as well, with any number of things. If it came out that the Beatles were in fact a terrible band or something, it'd be very hard to convince me of that, right? So, like, I understand
misinformation.
That. So I
sure.
get that approval ratings are going to go up and down, but for the people who are like, yes, this is what I voted for, but not this slim segment of it, to me, I don't know what to do with that information.
Yeah.
Like, oh, of course you wanted all this stuff, but you didn't personally want to be fired. Like, you don't need to convince me that that's happening. Like, you thought other people were going to be hurt and not you. I'm not saying these people you've been talking to, but I know that's a segment of the population.
Sure it is.
And I don't take satisfaction really from that. Like, I don't find it to be fun. Like, yeah, I was right, and it is affecting you now. Like, that episode we did is not Schadenfreude, it's just like,
we're not gloating. I wish you knew. I wish you believed us, And
I want to say that I understand where people are coming from when tweeting, I have no sympathy, lose all your savings, I don't care, fuck around, find out. I get it. It scares me a little bit that we're so quick to just say, fuck those people, I was right. And that not that I'm getting it from you guys. It makes me nervous, but all of this, it's like, the future that I see is one of empathy. The future that I see is one, it's frustrating, of course, because nobody ever agrees on everything, but there is a much better way to be navigating this. And we all have a common enemy. Some people were duped by them or wanted it. And some people wanted this. Some people it's just so fucking ugly. And, in personal relationships throughout our lives, we're told to protect our energy, but also the best way to happiness is forgiveness. And I believe all of this stuff, that I believe that if you carry toxic energy, then you become toxic, then you make yourself sick. And I selfishly and with empathy, I want us to not lose our kindness.
Yeah. Well, it's not.
But
it's not also not like one or the other, right? It's not like, well, you can either be like kind and forgiving and forgive all this stuff, or you have to be like toxic and like cruel and stuff.
No. I just I'm aware of this energy and how heated everything is, and I feel myself trying to find the balance between firmly maintaining my values and trying to create space for empathy and it's tough.
And growth and stuff, and that's
and
good.
Growth.
I just find I don't know. It's always nice to hear like, oh yeah, people are upset about this, and like people who even voted for him are like, wait, what? It's just hard to do anything with that.
Totally.
Where it's like, okay, do they feel bad? Do they regret it? Do they are they thinking about this other stuff? Do they think are they rethinking anything? Or is it just like, oh, that's horrible, the White House did that, oh my gosh, and then just moving on, right? Like that's part of what I see a lot of, where it's like, oh yeah, this is bad, but they still want him to be the president,
It's funny how unprepared some of them seemed. The first guy there was Rich McCormick. He's a Republican from Georgia. And he's the one who said, this is just like the January 6ers were mad as well. And they're like, well, we're here at a public forum that you are hosting.
We're not shoving people and breaking windows and trying to get in. We're not.
The certification of the electoral votes is not a public forum for you to bash people in the head.
Yeah, we're also not operating under a blatant lie. This massive lie that brought us here.
Oh, and the second guy was Wisconsin Republican Scott Fitzgerald, who was like, well, they've already found a bunch of waste and fraud, and then they got yelled at, and he seemed genuinely stunned that people were not. Well, what do you mean? What do you mean you don't believe that they've found a lot of waste and fraud? You're the fraud. You all got fired.
Yeah,
don't you think you're the fraud?
You were the fraud. How are you not happy that we got rid of you?
There's a representative from Kansas City, Missouri, got yelled at a lot because there's a big IRS office there, and about 100 IRS workers got fired there this week. And then they're like, well, I can't remember what the exact quote was. I apologize. But he was like, well, listen, some people are going to lose their jobs throughout this process, and some people need to lose their jobs as a part of this. And it's so funny that we're a month after inauguration, we're a few months after the election, 2-3 months before an election, you never hear, Mitt Romney was a big scandal when he said, I think you should be able to fire people. He just said that one thing, and it became this huge scandal in 2012. But now they're like, hey, a couple million people might need to be fired. A couple million Americans might need to lose their jobs. You're not on board with this?
I thought that's what you wanted, I guess.
That's what you wanted?
But don't worry. Again, they're hiring some of them back. It's okay. When they realize they've made a terrible, terrible mistake, they simply say, it's your fault, but come back, please.
You know what creates a really healthy and productive and efficient work environment? Mm-hmm. The terror of the unknown and how you can be fired via tweet.
Yeah,
overnight.
Via tweet that misrepresents an email that you may not
employees.
get.
Yeah, everyone knows what it's like now to work for a scrappy tech startup run by a megalomaniac.
That's the thing, too, where it's and we can hammer this home, we can say this as many times as we want, it doesn't matter, but it's not and never has been about any of these things they're saying. It's not about efficiency. It's not about fraud. It's not about waste. It's about getting rid of as many people as they can so they have loyal people to do what they want. The goal is to terrify people. It's not to get them to be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to work harder, or we're going to be more efficient. No, it's to terrify them to quit or have to be let go because they didn't respond to an email. So then they're gone, and then they can hire fucking, I don't know, Dan Bongino's neighbor or whoever. They just want all these freaks in there.
Can raffle
and
off
they want to
jobs
get rid
on
of
his
as many
podcast.
people who know what they're doing, who have that institutional knowledge, while they mine all the data in the government and put it on some fucking private server probably, and then feed it all to Grok 4. All the while, I also noticed one of those congressmen mentioned that Elon was going to police himself about conflicts of interest.
Well, okay, then problem solved.
The Federal Aviation Administration has agreed to use SpaceX's Starlink internet system to upgrade the information technology networks it uses to manage U.S. airspace, raising new concerns about conflicts of interest for CEO Elon Musk. No, raising the same concerns. Raising the same old concerns everybody's had.
Is there any company he runs that doesn't have federal contracts?
Oh, maybe
the Boring
Neuralink?
Company?
Maybe Neuralink.
XAI. I'm sure they will.
I'm sure they would now because of what all the amazing things XAI is doing for Doge.
What about Boring?
Probably
Does
not
that still
Boring.
exist?
I don't know. I just
it exists.
said one.
They used it recently to make they used it recently to make these stupid fucking tunnels at a Cybertruck factory. So the Cybertrucks roll out through the tunnel and.
So they make tunnels. They don't make
tunnels.
But they make tunnels from
for
New York to
Tesla.
Los Angeles? That tunnel?
No, they make it from one part of a town in Texas to another really, really close part of that same town
That's
in Texas.
silly.
That's the last I heard
we
of
need
the
a good
Boring
laugh.
Company.
So the Boring Company is basically like, you guys know The Incredibles? You know how the Underminer comes out of the ground at the end, and it's John Ratzenberger on there. So it's Elon riding in one of those little boring machines, and he's like,
Exactly.
Just to get him and his stuff places a little quicker.
jerk.
Oh, they just inked a new deal to do something in Dubai.
Who's they?
The Boring Company. The Boring Company inks deal to tunnel wormhole under Dubai. I hate this fucking guy and how he always calls shit like that, where it's like, no, man, it's a tunnel. It's a stupid little tunnel for one of your cars to go through at a time. It's not a wormhole. It's less efficient than most roads.
He's like, essentially, we are creating the event horizon. This is what we call it's the event horizon. You're like, no, it's a wall. You're not making event horizon. It's a wall.
No, but
also event horizon's bad.
Also, event horizon's bad.
It was a horrible thing that happened in the stupid movie. It was bad.
Oh God. So I guess we learned a lot about the Boring Company.
All right, folks. We're gonna wrap this
fucks?
up. Sure. All right, you fucks. We're gonna wrap this one up for today, but don't worry, because we're gonna be back in just a couple days.
That's true.
With even more news.
Even more of it.
And a great guest.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody want to see a drawing of a bear?
More than anything in the world.
Good, because it's already right here.
Oh, look at that.
It's pretty good,
It's
huh?
pretty good.
It looks
This
like...
bear-
sorry,
Is that the one that left the paw prints on your door?
Yeah. No, I was Googling. I'm trying to get my mic in the thing. I was Googling how to draw a bear, so I was just copying this online. Somebody wanted it painted on their bear box, which is where you put your trash so the bear doesn't get into it.
Mm-hmm.
So you
That's
should have
nice.
the circle and the line through it. We don't want the bear.
No
there.
bears allowed.
No bears. Mhm.
No.
And then a drawing of a box next to it so people
Mm-hmm.
know. Yeah.
I mean, they should know, but yeah, we'll make it really clear. Anyway, we're ending the show, but not before I tell you we love you very much.
You fucks much.